Hey everyone, this is Walter, and I'm back here with more posts and stories I found on Reddit. Today is once again time to talk about the nice guys. Men who act very nice until they're rejected. Then they'll send you long documents sometimes. Let's get started with nice guys from Reddit. This actually comes to us from Reddit Nice Guy Stories, which I like to check every once in a while. And it is about a guy sending a long-ass document. Rejected nice guy, and he sent me a psychoanalysis of me and himself. Apparently, a girl who started working and earning money can't buy herself some jewelry in a bag. About you. Materialism and ostentation. You're far too materialistic for your age. I understand that this is something generally inherited from family and the economic level you're born into. But every time you showed me something new you'd bought, the necklace, rings, the bag, I got the feeling you were doing it to push me away, telling me in some way, get lost, you're too poor to me. Since ancient times, elites have used luxury to demonstrate power, status, and exclusivity, and I think you've been doing the same to me. It makes no sense to think it was something that would interest me, or that it was convenient to share it with me, since I've already told you more than once that I'll never understand ostentation. So yes, you were doing it to push me away, and I find it absurd, ridiculous, and a sign of weakness. It shows that you're incapable of proving you're better or highlighting your virtues in any way other than with money. And that's not true, because you are a person with many virtues. Therefore, I find it unnecessary. Yeah, he finds it pretty unnecessary that she has nice things. Why, back in his day. Sounds like a complaint Lucas would make. The prince. In any case, I don't consider materialism itself a flaw. It would be a problem when your consumption of luxuries for pleasure became the main objective in your life, turning into hedonism, which is one of a woman's greatest flaws in the eyes of a prince. So far, and the impression you gave me from the beginning, is that you are an intelligent woman who knows how to respect herself, brave, and with clear ideas. If you look for, and find, a rich, tall, handsome prince, and rich again, it's very likely that when you realize that men are all a mess, you'll get tired of him and leave him. And when you leave him, or reject any man like that, your ego will inflate, and you'll think you can get your hands on even richer, taller, more handsome, and richer men again. Even though you told me you don't believe in prostitution. I think your materialism directly conflicts with your ideal of a prince. Perhaps you think otherwise, that you would only possess things you bought and earned yourself. Well, that's your theory. But in practice, wealthy men feel the need to provide for the women they're with, simply to eliminate any competition from men with lower incomes. Basically, because they're insecure beta males, and because they can afford to be. I hope not, but it's possible you'll go from one wealthy beta male to another. This way you'll care less and less about men's feelings, if you don't already, and you won't meet any princes. While I don't know your exact idea of a prince, I believe no prince, a man who respects himself, would want to be with a hedonistic woman, a woman who doesn't respect herself. Don't get me wrong, are there any wealthy men who aren't beta males? Probably so, and I truly hope you find it. But even so, the conflict of interest is quite significant, and you'll soon realize it. Yeah, how dare someone with a lot of money decide to buy their partner nice things? With guys like this, their definition of beta male is usually any man who isn't them. And I personally feel like I have too much self-respect to go around calling myself a prince. Your destiny, my coincidences. Although I think I've already made my position clear, I wanted to clarify that there is no such thing as destiny. Everything that has happened in your life has been a coincidence, not destiny. Believe me, they happen. Let me tell you something. I found you interesting. And I'd been thinking for weeks about talking to you after class, to get to know you better. One day, I remembered you had a profile picture of yourself working out, and the place seemed familiar. I thought you'd taken the picture at a gym near me, where my little brother works out. Even so, I didn't talk to you. Later, on the first day we did class together, classmate was listening to jazz, and you put on metal. Rammstein, if I'm not mistaken. That day, I decided to start talking to you because I thought there were too many coincidences, and that perhaps we had even more in common than I initially thought. But it wasn't destiny, it was coincidence. He's pretty presumptuous, isn't he? This girl I've been staring at for weeks also likes metal? We have so much in common. So, what do we have in common? I think you already know. I've always had the feeling that whenever we found something in common, you did everything you could to avoid delving deeper into those topics. Suddenly, you don't like metal as much. You've played Souls-like video games, and you ignore me when I try to share this with you. You had, LOL, a profile picture of yourself working out. Suddenly you don't like working out. You tell me you did boxing, but that you haven't felt like doing anything lately. You say yes? Until recently, every time I suggested something, you said yes. This is what has confused me the most. I think from the first day I spoke to you, it was very obvious that I was interested, and as time went on, I kept suggesting we do more things together. Whenever I suggested something, it was with the clear intention of spending more time together and getting to know each other better, and you agreed. You seemed to be on board. Even so, I've always felt that our conversations were more like interrogations on my part. You never asked me anything, and the first time we met, there came a point where I didn't know what else to say or ask you. I suggested, you ask me something, and you said it seemed like an egocentric suggestion. I've suggested we meet to get to know each other better. You've accepted, and I hope to get to know you too. You were the egocentric one. You came without preparing anything, without thinking about me, what you expected from me, or what you were interested in knowing about me. I think it's good to be natural, to think only in the present and let yourself go, but only up to a point. The next time you meet someone, not even romantically, just personally, do them the favor of not being the way you were with me. And if you can't allow yourself to be like that, it's better not to meet anyone until you personally worked on this, because you could hurt us both. The funniest thing is that we still met up again. But why did you say yes if you weren't going to share anything with me? If the first time we met was an interrogation, the second time felt like torture. Okay, from what he's saying, it sounds to me like she never seemed that interested from the start, and he was somewhat aware of this. I'm not sure how he can try to pitch this as her leading him on. Why didn't you just say no? If you already knew I didn't stand a chance, why did you keep giving me false hope? My theory is that it still made you happy and boosted your ego to have a little dog following you everywhere, paying attention to you and showing interest in you. But I feel like if she said no from the start, he'd probably still type her some sort of diatribe. There's just no winning with guys like this. I really like how he said that she was the egocentric one, but look at how many words he's about to type about himself. About me. Expressive incapacity. If you're reading this, you might be surprised right now, thinking, damn, it turns out my little dog, my source of ego, has feelings. I think my inability to express myself, to converse, and to say what I feel and think is one of my biggest flaws. I always find it very difficult to filter everything that goes through my head and say the right thing. Sometimes I overthink what I want to say, and I end up saying it wrong. My brain overfits, LOL. That's why I'm better at writing. I always thought that talking to you would help me fix this. I don't usually talk to people, and I don't know if it's helped, but what's clear is that it hasn't helped enough, and that's why I messed up. I never meant to make you feel bad, and I succeeded. That's how bad I am at it. I think this problem is what caused you to get angry with me. I'm not sure. I'd like to know, but I don't think I fully explained why I was interested in your opinion, your criticism, and why you told me what you thought I was doing was wrong, what flaws I had, and what I could improve. I remember at some point in the conversation, I asked you, so you think there's a 0% chance? And you said yes, that it was impossible. At that moment I understood, and I thought you did too, that nothing would happen between us, and that I wasn't going to try anything more between us, and that from that moment on, we could continue talking as friends, and still come out ahead. Because I found it interesting to keep talking to you, regardless of whether you liked me. I'd been doing it for months. That's why I wanted your opinion, to improve myself personally, for the future. I think you thought I was asking you about my flaws, as if I was going to fix them all overnight, and come back the next day and say, I don't have these flaws anymore, do you want to be my partner now? Not at all. I already understood that. I had accepted it a long time ago. I just thought it was important to ask you that question, from the perspective of personal growth. And the truth is, I'm really sorry that this made you feel bad, because again, it was probably my fault, and I didn't explain it well. The last time we spoke, I don't know what word you used, but you told me that I made you feel bad, like you were being harassed. Like I was some weirdo who was going to be obsessed with you. That's when I realized I hadn't expressed myself well. I think this paragraph would go over a lot better if he hadn't been so insulting in the first half of this thing. How annoying it must be for someone you barely know to predict your entire future. Too analytical. I'm a very analytical person, and sometimes I struggle to understand things like attraction. I'm attracted to people based on a specific set of characteristics. And romantic attraction among most people is very different. It's more subjective and sometimes irrational. I understand that you're in that group of people, although at first I didn't think so. That was one of the reasons I was interested in getting to know you, in feeling understood. But I see that's why you couldn't think of anything to say when I asked you why you weren't attracted to me. There are no reasons, perhaps because the contempt you have for me is such that you simply don't care about me at all, and you'd never even considered it. Or perhaps because there are no rational reasons. So the question made you uncomfortable. At the time, I didn't understand it. I thought you cared at least a little, or that you were more like me. Is this guy saying that he's the logician, like I am? Definitely seems to fit, but I don't think that's much of an excuse to be this level of clueless. Like he must know how bitter this is sounding. Introvert. I'm an introvert, and no woman wants an introverted man. For example, I almost never talk to you in class, like we do when we're walking together, because I don't like to draw attention to myself. Ideally, I wish no one had ever noticed me talking to you. Not because I'm embarrassed, but because I don't think it's necessary to have to justify my interest in someone and put up with certain attitudes. Or the stares of divorced women on the subway. On the first day we met, to give another example. I have very conservative values in this regard, and I don't think they're that related to introversion, but they give that impression. The truth is, this is a flaw I can't find a solution for, because it's just who I am and what I believe is right. I get nervous during introductions. No woman wants this. It shows distrust. I know. I've thought several times about going to a psychologist to fix this because it's an irrational fear. I don't know if it's stage fright, but well, I can't afford a psychologist, so for now I can't do anything. I used to be scared of clowns when I was little, XD. That last sentence was extremely random. And why would you think no woman wants an introverted man? That makes no sense to me. Can't get over him calling himself the prince. Not sure he's referring to himself. I told him I'm waiting for my prince, as a joke, and he seemed to have treated it like I want a sugar daddy. Yeah, the amount of ranting he did over that because he didn't recognize sarcasm is pretty legendary. Icky. Dodged a nuke out here. Can't agree more. He sent me another email telling me to please not end up with a loser. I guess I did just that by throwing him out of my life. It sounds like his social intelligence is just not at an adult level. I also liked when he said she had many virtues and never actually ended up saying what he liked about her. Now let's head over to Reddit Nice Guys. You know, it's crazy. I've been single 6 years, played with by all these smut-ass buffalo bitches. I stay seeing all you females on here, talking about how much you got dogged or beat, but a good guy trying to hit you up, and we're ignored. I'm over here smoking a blunt, laughing at you dumb bitches. You get what you deserve. Man, it fucking pisses me off that just because women don't like you, they are playing you. No, women just don't like you. If you're laughing at people for their bad experiences and calling them dumb bitches, you ain't a nice guy. I mean, if you've been single that long, and not for lack of trying, chances are it's not the women who are to blame. And it's also just a shameful thing to post on social media. Let's read one more. You look and sound adorable. Love you all of your outfits. Question. Is it bad that a 45-year-old, successful, handsome, in-shape guy, former college swimmer, would want to date a woman that wanted him faithful to her after realizing how sweet and awesome he was over time? And he would stay completely, utterly faithful to her. Yet, she could still fully enjoy one other lover who is a more dominant alpha male, who she completely chooses on her own, whenever she craves him without guilt. It's called compersion. Ever heard of that term? As long as she was open and honest about who else she is dating? Just curious your thoughts on an arrangement like that. Hope the questions doesn't weird you out. Yes, I like to spoil. Is that so bad? Thanks. So he's reaching out to someone online to ask, will you sleep with me, but also cuck me? I think that's a new one. He has a pretty high opinion of himself, though, doesn't he? He's 45, so you're like early 20s, right? It's always the middle-aged guys hitting on 20-year-olds. I'm not even in my 20s yet. I'm 19. Yep, absolute degeneracy from this guy. Anyway, it's about all the time I have for you today. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you liked the video, please give it a like. If you have something to say, make sure you let me hear it in the comments. I'll be reading them while the video's new. If you're new here, consider subscribing for more Reddit crap and Russell Greer soon. Also, Lucas's birthday is on Thanksgiving this year, so maybe I'll do something for that. Finally, it's time to shout out my generous patrons by name. They help by supporting me more directly over on Patreon, and it really helps me out. Jimmo, Gwenor, Lavon, Ava Swan, Chris Sturman, Chef Casa, Cyan Wales, Denthead, Daniel Della Pena, Ouroboros, William Ash, Big Mike Shirley, Sammy, Wernology, Don Smith, Alberto 2001, Zephyrin, Says Andorra, Skepticals, Zebrabird, Weeb Jesus, Molly Mayhem, Frosty, Trashboat 1234, Lauren Royal Woods, Slil Hamaganiva, Bumbus McDunga, Psychic Kumquat, Big Mike 9546, I Am, Lil Spoon, Regrettable Stitches, Knit1 Code 2, Alex Anakin, Francois Tremblay, and Hermes. Thanks again so much. This is video number 4 on the way to 10 this month. I'll be back soon with more. Have a great day, everyone, and don't spend too long waiting for your prince. I guess he's probably a beta male anyway.